Good morning, my dear students. Today I am going to explain uh, the poem A Thing of Beauty, written by John Keats, one of the greatest poets of the Romantic age. Uh, this is the brief introduction is given about the poet. He was a British Romantic poet. Although trained to be a surgeon, Keats decided to devote himself fully to poetry. This is the brief introduction you will read, okay, from the textbook. The main things that we will have to take information from this introduction is that the poem that we are reading is actually uh, an excerpt that has been taken from the long poem Endymion, written by John Keats, a poetic romance. Here see, uh, the following is an excerpt from his poem Endymion, a poetic romance. The poem is based on Greek legend in which Endymion, a beautiful young shepherd and poet who lived on Mount Latmus, had a vision of Cynthia, the moon goddesses. The enchanted youth resolved to seek her out, and so wandered away through the forest and down under the sea. So this is the things, okay, this all about, but we will not go the poetic romance and the lifestyle of Cynthia and Shepherd and anything else, because the poem is very short. Okay, it is not the long whole poem. It's the first page of the long poem that is consists more than 900 lines. So few lines we have been given to read. See, the poem, when it was written, it was the age of 19th century, and 19th century was the age of great destruction in the lifestyle of the Britishers, because uh, it was an industrial revolution in their lives, okay, and racism was going on, okay, in England, in America, or in Europe, or in South Africa. the sup, uh, the the white patriarchy was there, okay, the black was uh, crushed under the boot of the white was considered only human being. So this kind of practice was going on there. So perhaps he was not happy with this kind of atrocity and this kind of cruelty of the human being. Under the spell of industrialization, the British landlords, okay, or the Britishers were cutting a large amount of trees and setting up industries, and because of that, the whole England was totally in trouble. The whole when England was in complete chaotic stage because of the sound of the industry. So he tried to just make the people aware that the actual beautiful things, the actual peace, actual comforts, not lies in the industrial revolution or achievement, but actually it is in the nature. Okay, it is in the garden, it is in the woods, and very philosophically he defines the word beautiful, and also gives a kind of parameters, a kind of barometers, a kind of assessing machine by which everyone can assess who is beautiful and who is ugly. So in this poem, the narrator, the poet John Keats, has given us a kind of instrument by which we can judge someone, we can judge anyone who is beautiful and who is ugly. First thing. The second thing is that, according to the narrator, the beautiful objects have different definitions. Perhaps he was not agree with the definition of the English dictionary on that time, or either Oxford or any encyclopedia, and that's why he is trying to redefine the word beautiful, okay, and wanted to tell all the human being of that age and even today that who actually beautiful each, and what should be his manner, and how can you check. See, there are 4 and 5 aspects of reading poem. We have done already 3 poems. Okay, my mother at 66, elementary school classroom in a slum. Uh, the third one, keeping quiet, and this is the 4th poem we are doing. So now it is very important to tell you all that we will have to take care of 3, 4, maximum 5 things in a poem. The first thing that we will have to take care of, the meaning of the poem. Meaning here refers to summary. Okay, summary of the poem, that what actually it means. The second one is the word, phrases, okay, and literary devices used in this poem. That what are the new words and phrases that have been used in the poem. The third one is literary devices. Where are the literary devices have been used, like alliteration, like simile, like imagery, okay, like metaphor, like metonymy, like uh, transferred epithet, personification. So these things we'll have to find out from this poem, or from the poem that we will read. This is the third thing. The fourth thing is to find out the value of this poem, the theme of the poem in context of the modern time. Okay, what is the teaching? What is the objective? Okay, of this poem in this modern world? Why we should learn this? Why we should read this? Is there any objective? Is there any theme? Is there any moral? Okay, of this poem, that we'll try to find. This is the 4 things. The fifth thing is that to enhance our critical thinking. Okay, just like the poet, how we will enhance our critical thinkings? When we'll start speaking clearly, when we'll start thinking, okay, on certain things, when we'll start researching on particular questions or particular theme on particular subjects, and start giving our own explanation. Means when we'll attain a sense of individuality, that what is right and what is wrong. So this is the critical thinking. Okay, the rational approach you will have to develop from after reading the poem. So these are the 5 things. Okay, I had to tell you that my dear students, while reading poem will have to take care of all these 5 aspects of reading poetry. I think I am clear. Okay, now I am reading the lines of the poem and try to explain the meaning of the poem. As I said, it appears that the man, the narrator, the poet, is not happy with the definition of the word beauty, and that's why he redefines what actually the beauty is. So those who have read history, and those who know the racism in 19th century, the apartheid movement, okay, the white atrocity towards the black one, the white supremacy and everyone. So he is trying to just give human being. This is the modern approach of reading this poem, that perhaps he was not happy with the atrocity of the white man, and he is telling that who they may not be called a human being, they may not call a beautiful people, okay, nice people, and how they will be called a beautiful people. This he is giving, this he is setting some manners, okay, and giving some traits. So this is one of the approach of the modern evaluation and explanation of this poem. But in the traditional approach of this poem is how a Cynthia, uh, how a shepherd is fall in love, okay, with how a shepherd fall in love with moon goddesses, okay, Cynthia, and he is just looking after her, searching for her day and night. The Cynthia goddesses is searching in night, and shepherd is searching in day, and they both are unable to meet, and the audience laments and regrets on their plight. So this is the kind of romance. uh, we have similar story, okay, in our myths also. uh, like one god fall in love with a very beautiful lady who was the wife of Rishi, okay, sent. And finally, in order to satisfy his lust, he assumed his body, okay, as a Rishi, as a saint, and just satisfied himself. Or and then the when the Rishi means the saint came, he realized that he was cheated, and like that, so he cursed the wife. So the beauty was very much not all the time okay good. So we have this kind of a myths. Same one more approach of this poem is that when we will go through the lifestyle of John Keats, we'll come to know that he was addicted with tuberculosis. Okay, and in 19th century there was no cure of that disease. So the narrator has seen uh, his elder brother died due to this disease. So he was also sure and certain that he will also going to die very soon. And when he was addicted with that disease, okay, so all his near one, all his dear one, even his fiancée left him. So it also appears that he, in order to forget, in order to delete, in order to just remove the remembrance, okay, remembrance of his, fiancée, he is cursing, or he just trying to say that she was not beautiful, and if she had been beautiful, she might have not left me. Means indirectly he is consoling himself, okay, and just telling this kind of explanation and who are the beautiful objects. So there are multi approach of explanation of this poem. So we will go with the modern approach of this explanation of this poem. So we'll see that if you want to be a beautiful human being, a beautiful, kind, soft, delicate, means what kind of person you wanted to be, okay, you can have, okay, after reading this poem. A thing of beauty, I'm reading this text. A thing of beauty is joy forever. Its loveliness increases, it will never pass into nothingness. The first line is telling that a thing of beauty means whatever object of beauty is there is joy forever. Means if it is beautiful, it will not harm anyone, it will not scold anyone, it will not torture anyone, it will not humiliate anyone, it will not upset anyone, it will not annoy anyone. What is the object of a beautiful things? The objective of the beautiful thing is to please, to give comfort, okay, to give pleasure, to facilitate good feelings. When you'll go through the dictionary, okay, you'll find out what is the meaning of a beautiful. So you'll come to know that a beautiful things are those who gives beautiful things are those who gives sensual pleasure. Sensual pleasure refers to the pleasure of eyes, the pleasure of ear, the pleasure of nose, the pleasure of touching, the pleasure of smelling, the pleasure of tasting, eating. So these are the five sensual organs that if they are pleased by something, by an object, by a things, or by anything, so they are known as beautiful things. He is telling here that whatever an object of beauty is there, it is a joy forever, it is permanent, facilitating joy. And who are they? He will let us know. Its loveliness increases, means its beauty, its kindness, its delicacy, its softness, okay, will just increase after the passage of the time. Means there is no impact of time on it. The human beauty is temporary. Under the spell of time, it will lose its effect, it will lose its loveliness. But he is telling that those who are the beautiful objects, its loveliness, its kindness, okay, its loving approach will not pass into nothingness. It will just increase. It will not pass into nothingness, means it will not lose its glitter, its color, its beauty. Okay, its objective of facilitating pleasure, peace, and comfort. This is not there. Okay, if it is beautiful, it is permanent, and there is no effect of time, okay, on these all. But will keep a boa quiet for us, and a sleep full of sweet dreams, and a health and quiet breathings. He is telling that a boa is a very quiet place. It is just like an oasis. A very generally boa is found in the and desert area, a kind of shady, a kind of uh, very shady or comfortable place. It facilitates the tired travelers. Okay, it gives peace and comfort to the tired travelers. A shady boon. Okay, the under the banyan tree, under the mango tree. Okay, the tired travelers get rest and quiet breathings. Okay, in the month of May and April when it is extremely hot weather. So it is quiet breathing. The beautiful object is just like a bow, a kind of very beautiful place to facilitate the tired travelers, okay, and the tired people and upset people, and a slave full of sweet dreams. And the man or the traveler who will visit under the bower, under the shady plot, okay, shady plot is not there, shady place, okay, beautiful place. So he will have a sweet dreams, okay, he will just sleep there and have a sweet dreams and health and quiet breathings there. Means he will just enjoy the atmosphere of the quietness, okay, the pleasant and the comfortable place in extremely hot weather. So indirectly he's telling that the plants you are cutting, okay, in England and going to set up the industry, so you are going to just cut the boa, you are going to cut the quiet place, you are going to destroy the very pleasant place. It will no longer be able to facilitate the tired travelers, okay, comfort, peace and pleasure, okay. So this way he is trying to teach the English people that don't destroy the quiet place, okay, the shady place of the nature, who has comforted for long time and is able to comfort the coming generation in extreme heat weather, okay, and also able to comfort the tired travelers who are the travelers, okay, and the businessman and the or any kind of man. Therefore, on every morrow, morrow means here morning, our weary things a flowery band to bind us to this earth, spite of despotence of the inhuman dearth, of noble natures of the gloomy days. See, very less, you know, uh, full stop is there. So he is telling here, means he is very much spontaneous in his approach. He wanted to give all the details as soon as possible. So that's why his thoughts have been punctuated with a comma. So he's telling, therefore, on every morning, means every morning, every day, our very thing means we are going to unite ourselves. Okay, we are creating a kind of chain, we are creating a kind of bond, we are making a bond, okay, everything means just making uh, a chain, a flowery band to bind us to the earth. And these are the beautiful objects that unite us, okay, bind us and take us in it, take us, okay, in it. And that's why we don't want to die, we don't want to just separate with these beautiful objects. Actually, in his life, he is going to die very soon, he is going to breathe his last very soon. When you see his date of birth and date of death, you will come to know that he lived only 26 years, okay, there, and after that he died. So in age of at the age of 23 or 24, he came to know that he is going to die very soon. So in between 2 or 3 years, he wrote maximum poem and became famous, world famous. So see the fear of death, uh, how the fear of death make a human being, okay, great. So he is telling that these beautiful objects, a flowery band to bind us to the earth, a spite of despotence. He is telling that these are the beautiful objects and they are facilitating us a sense of beauty, a sense of comfort, a spite of despotence. Despotence means when we are unhappy, when we are feeling annoyed, when we are feeling upset, okay. So these are the objects we can that are able to just facilitate us, comfort us, okay. Of the inhuman death, inhuman death means the human beings are not good, they are not able to facilitate, okay, they are not able to comfort, they are not able to, means the inhuman, he is telling why, because the human beings are actually destroying the beauty of the nature. So that's why he's telling that when we are unhappy, nature can facilitate us, the nature can comfort us, the nature can gives us peace and pleasure. Inhuman dearth of noble nature, and nature is noble and humans are not noble. Okay, it is inhuman, they are ugly. So of noble natures of the gloomy days. Gloomy days refers to the when we are in trouble. Okay, when we are in not in happy mood or in a healthy mood, or our condition is not well off. So on that time, okay, on those days, it is the nature who can just give us comfort, peace and pleasure. Of all the unhealthy and over darkened ways made for our searching, yes, in spite of all shapes of beauty moves away the pall from our dark spirits. He is telling that of all the unhealthy, okay, and over darkened ways, means whatever trouble we have faced, whatever problem we are in under, whatever miseries we are having, okay, whatever pathetic conditions we are having. So these all things has been, said as pall. Pall means the gloom, okay, made our searching. Over darkened ways made for our searching. Yes, in spite of all shape, some shapes of beauty moves away. Means these are the natural objects, okay. They can move away, they can remove away, okay. Our gloomy face, our upset appearance, our annoying appearance, our angry mood, okay, into good one. When you see the Taj Mahal, when you see the Red Fort, when you see the Buckingham Palace, when you see the garden, when you see the landscape, when you will visit Mauritius, when you visit Shimla, or when you visit a very natural places or the landscapes, we feel very much happy and excited uh, because of the achievement of human being. At the same time, the beautiful objects they have created, so they are constant a source of beauty, peace and pleasure for the visitors. So same case is here with the natural objects, with the garden, which is the flower, which is the tree. Okay, they are able to just remove all the problem, all the miseries, all the uncomforting positions of human beings. He's telling some shapes of beauty moves away, means whatever any beautiful object, okay, can just moves away the pall means the uncomfortable stage of human being, or the gloomy face, the misery of human being from our dark states. Means it can just removes our the ill activity, inhuman activity, okay, and will gives us a sense of pleasure and peace, and can make a complete human being like this. He's telling indirectly that nature is also a teacher, okay, and he is also going to teach us a very good lesson, that it does not differentiate. How nature does not differentiate? It is giving flowers to everyone, it is giving shade to everyone. He is not telling that you are land, I will give you shelter, you are sheep, I will not give you shelter. It is not differentiating. So the narrator is talking about that the beautiful objects does not know, okay, don't know the sense of separation, and those who knows the sense of separation, differentiation, okay, based on the appearance, based on the might, based on the color, based on the class, they are not supposed to be the beautiful objects. These are the things he's trying to say. Such the sun, the moon, trees, old and young, is sprouting a shady boon. And according to him, these are the beautiful objects. They are the source of unending joy for humanity. Here he is giving reference of sun. We have some Hindi poets, they have written about sun, that sun is not differentiating, it is shedding its glitters, okay, it is showering its lightning to the hut and to the palace also. It does not differentiate, so it is a beautiful object. So here is the sun. Sun does not differentiate. Sun is also giving day to the black one. Sun is also giving day to the white man. Sun is giving uh, uh, warmth to the black one, and sun is giving warmth, okay, in the winter season to the white man and black man all. So it does not know differentiation. So it is a beautiful object. Then moon is also shining, okay, during the night and giving a sense of very pleasantness, and just scattering its lightning during the night. So it is also very nice one, okay. So here sun and moon are the constant source of a continuous source of beautiful objects. Trees old, trees means the big trees and young means the small trees. Okay, sprouting a steady wound, they are just giving, they are facilitating, they are creating. Okay, they are forming and manufacturing a very beautiful place for the visitors, for the tired travelers, for the everyone. Okay, those who are coming near it. Okay, coming it's in its bow or coming its shade. So this is the explanation. I will continue this poem in next class. Thank you very much. You just do the homework assignment from the rat trap I have given. I will give one more approach of explanation of this poem. Thank you very much.